just on the lunch break and just taking a nice leisurely walk. So just thinking of the next game and really just going in there and just be natural and just use some naturalness. Just react to what is actually happening on the board. Don't put any predictions either way, and just see how the game goes. And hopefully, devil fingers stays away, and we can try and make some appropriate moves. That's the order of the day. And just basically turn up, take my seat, have a look at the situation, and just react naturally and safely, and practicing all the stuff that we've been practicing, such as the initiatives, and basically just making sure that we're getting down our candidate moves correctly, and the positions, checks, captures, threats, support, blocking, and then back to position, and just really just reacting appropriately, not over-egging anything. If anything's clear, then fine, let's go for it. But we'll see. It all depends on what the opponent plays. And yeah, that's it for now. A few moments in the life of chess train. So we'll be on this site, might be for an hour, maybe 2 hours, might be 10 minutes, all depends how we feel. But this is kind of like the typical type of thing that we do when we're just floating around the chess world. So this is a daily game. It's one move a day. Well, you can make more moves a day, but it's daily. So let's have a look at the position on the board. I usually go back because the strange thing about doing correspondence is you don't remember the move order or what you were planning, etc. So I usually go back maybe 2 or 3 moves, or maybe even 1 sometimes, just to have a look at what was happening. So they've come with the bishop, we brought our bishop up, they brought their knight up. So we're potentially attacking this pawn, but the queen is currently defending at the minute. We're also wanting to bait down some pawns as well, as we do. And so there's quite a lot of things going on there at this moment in time. With them bringing the knight out, I can think they're probably going to sit the knight in this little square here because it's got his little outpost. So obviously I'm thinking, well, my king is going to get squished because I have opened with the queenside pawn. It's not my usual flavour, but when I'm doing these correspondence things, I'm just practicing with the e4, the d4, then I'm going to throw in some other quirky moves as well, and just see how things go. Got a lot more time to think of moves. If you're making a blunder, then you can see it straight away and try and rectify it. Doesn't happen all the time. There are some really strong players on here. So we're just here for the enjoyment, as we say in our about on our YouTube. It's a very slow development of our chess. We're trying to improve the quality of our chess. So instantly I'm wanting to just push this pawn here to open up the white square bishop. I do think the knight's going to jump here, but it might lose them a bit of tempo in terms of castling themselves. So I think I'll continue with that movement and just pushing the pawn here. So we'll click OK on that one. So let's jump on to the next one, and let's see where we're going with this. So they've actually attacked the knight, so this pawn will be under threat if we don't support the pawn. So we'll keep that simple. And this one's been going for a bit now, so let's see what's happening here. It's even Stevens at the moment. Yeah, I did have a question mark on this particular game, so need to box a little bit clever, I think. So the idea was potentially coming here because the pawn can't take, but the queen is defending. So we've opted for attacking the queen. If the queen did take, then we'd be able to take the knight. The pawn can't take back, and then there's an immediate kind of checkmate situation. Although the bishop can go back here. But the queen's moved out of the way. They've not fallen for that little trick. So this pawn is undefended at the moment. We do have support from the queen, so the bishop could take the pawn. I don't know if that is going to be happy, because if we go here, you can expect one of the rooks to actually come and attack the bishop. Suppose the bishop can come back and attack the rook, but it's then really developing their rooks for them, isn't it? So we could come back to this position attacking the knight, but then the knight can freely jump here. But if he does do that, then we do still have that mate threat. So what do they have? Yeah, we take. So they don't necessarily need to come and attack the bishop. They could do something else, which is towards our king area. Our king area is feeling a little bit smug, but we don't like feeling smug, because are we just basically smothering our king? Because it only has one square to move to. So if we do take, this bishop doesn't have any protection on. So he could come and attack the bishop. Bishop can come and sit here. The knight can move, but again, yeah, I suppose the knight can move at that stage. And where does it move to? Attacking the queen. So the knight then attacks the queen, which is attacking a higher piece. So our bishop is out there all alone. We could move the queen up, enticing this pawn to come down, which will attack it, I believe. Our bishop is still stuck out there. Or do we, if he attacks with we could go and attack the bishop, because the bishop's got no protection on. But then if we did that, his queen can just, oh no, our bishop's over there. Oh, there's options, isn't there? There's options. We take, he comes down, attacks the queen. We attack his bishop. We've got two pieces undefended here, bishop, bishop. So the bishop looks to defend itself. Yeah, so it goes here. His knight is there. It looks a bit ugly, doesn't it? I might refrain from doing that. Is there anything better? Push the pawn. Or am I going to rule the day that I didn't take the pawn? It's just, it looks a little bit messy. Knight, knight. Knight's actually attacking this pawn as well as the queen. So are we better coming here? We're taking company away from our own king. So knight's there, bishop. He's got his bishop here, he's got his queen looking to come down. So we'd have to move the queen across here. I'm sure I'm missing something here. So I'm going to grab the pawn. Like I say, it's correspondence, so we'd have to go through all of this again just to remember what it was that we kind of planned. You know, so it's not going for this bishop here, it's going for here. I think you can put something in notes, can't you? But I don't spend any time putting things in notes, because they 9 times out of 10 don't do what you're expecting them to do, so you have to reframe your mind again. Just a bit worried. Queen. Let's go with that. Let's take. Alright. Let's see what happened here. Okay, it's queenside pawn opening again. So I like to vary it up because I'm an E4 man through and through. But it's nice to be able to just fluctuate between different openings so that people don't go, oh, he's an E4 man, I'm going to do this, and then they get the shock of their lives, don't they? Right, so we pushed there, they pushed in the center, they grabbed with the knight. So we could take the knight, or no, the move order was going to be take here. Yeah, just to get the break in the center. So we're taking there because the queen is defending the knight. Oops, sorry. If it does come in. So we're simply capturing the knight here on this one. Didn't have to put much thought into that. It was a bit obvious movement. Right, okay, so they're just going ready for castling. So this looks pretty. We've attacked their bishop. They've moved back. I'm not sure about jumping here because it can cause a bit of problems for us. I think I've done that in one of the recent games. Might have been against this sim play if we've got another game. And it's opened up space around our king. So the idea I was then thinking was just opening this and bringing the bishop here, even though it is hitting a bit of a stone wall at the moment. It's also this, but this knight is defending there at the minute. But we can't move because of the queen. So I think we're just moving the queen off of the line of this X-ray that they've got with their bishop. Yep, okay, let's do that. And that's all of them done. And a message there. Yeah, I've made the move. Okay, so that's the correspondence stuff done. So then we flick around and we attempt to look at a puzzle or two, but I think we're fairly comfortable with where we're at the minute. Just have a look at the profile. Like I said, this is not like a speed run thing or anything like that. So daily 10:28 at the minute, 11 for the puzzles. So I think we've reached the max for that for this period of time. So we've reached the 1100 there, and Blitz we've reached the 1100 area as well. So it's probably potentially just working maybe on the bullet, which is really quite hard. And maybe adding a rapid game as well today. We'll see how we get on. We'll try with the bullet thing, but bullet is really quite hard, especially on this side. So we will go in and give it a shot. 2 minutes 1 second. Just make sure that everything should be okay on there, shouldn't it? Yeah. Alright. So shall we rock and roll? 2 minutes 1 second. Let's see what we've got. Let's just hit the pawn. That's very clever. Oh shh. Yeah, very good, very good. Oh, too good for me. Too good, too good. let's resign this one. That's painful. Alright, let's keep going. Oh, not going for the fried thing, is he? Looks like they are, aren't they? It's weird because it says will auto resign in, now it's now 0 seconds and it still was counting down. Okay, game abandoned, let's just keep cracking on. Okay, that was fun. Interesting. I'm losing on time here. Okay. Got myself mixed up. Oof, that's a bit lucky, wasn't it? Okay. Right, so that might be enough bullet for today, might it? You know, I'm not a bullet man. But let me see, did we drop down? I think we dropped down a bit, didn't we? So do we have to continue? What are we on? That one's bullet, wasn't it? Oh no, 1024, we've gone up. Alright, highest 1024. Oh, so that's not too bad. Let's have a look at this daily game. Okay, so I think this one played this one today, haven't we? So we opened up the white square bishop, and yeah, like we thought, they're probably going to go on castle. So we could attack their bishop. I think the knight is just going to sit here, but we're going to attack the bishop anyway. Alright, so there's no more. So we'll probably have, well, I said we weren't going to do any puzzles because we'd reached like the 1100 mark, didn't we? We were going to look at maybe a rapid game. Yep. Let's see what happens. A rapid game or two. Depends how it goes. 15-10. And let's dive in. Let's attack the pawn. I think I can talk a little bit more in the longer games, the bullet ones. I have to just try and put some concentration in. So I'm going to hit this center pawn like we do. So we've got a deep thinker here, so let's put some deep thought into ours, and hopefully the deep thought that we do put in brings us to familiar ground which we're used to seeing, so you know we can make those moves straight away. And they've gone for complicated type stuff, and I'm just going to bring our knight out. Just keep it simple. I mean, I could have just taken, I'm on the knight, he takes, just get a little bit quick. Ooh, okay, let's take. And let's take the queen off the board. Hopefully they take with the knight. They do, so we'll grab the pawn here. Just looking to get this pawn, so we probably need to bring the bishop here, supporting the pawn. So now I'm thinking defense. Maybe go back defense now. Yes, we're +1, but you know I don't want to be left too airy. This knight doesn't have any protection on. It is attacking the weak square, but really it's just castling, and it's dark square bishop probably needs to come out maybe to try and double the pawns in front of the king. But it all depends on what the opponent does, because we've got a thinker, they're taking the time. It is a 15-minute, 10-second game. So bishop's come back attacking the unprotected knight, which is cool. So the knight could swing around and attack the bishop, because knights do hunt the bishops in our mantra. There's no queen available, it's not gone on castle, so again it's giving them something to think about. If the pawn does take, then it's kind of isolated in the center of the board, so maybe a plus for us. So I'm going to swing the knight around. It's got protection from the bishop now at least. Obviously these small pawns can attack it in the future if it stays there. So I don't think they're going to allow it to be taken, I think they'll move it. Smaller piece attacking a higher piece, obviously then the knight comes around. Again, kind of giving them things to think about, potentially. So I won't do too much narration or calculation, depends on what the opponent's going to do. So they've actually castled, so we're going to take. They've got, for a moment, an isolated pawn in the centre like we said. We could look to trade down the knights. So we could just swing in here, and if the knight doesn't take, then we swing in here. But is that a problem for us? 1 second. Yeah, so if we go here, if the knight does take, then the pawn takes, then the rook comes and puts a check on. Bishop can come to block, so we can still get castled, hopefully. Or do we go and castle now? I don't really like to see pieces hanging around. I want to give the opponent something to think about. So I'm just going to attack the knight. At least we have the bishop that can block and we can castle either side. Fingers crossed. Let's go. So the rook does come. Just because they've got a bit of space here, I think it's probably safer castling on the king's side, because they could double the rooks up and put a bit of pressure on that area. Just thinking. So thinking now, what can come and attack this bishop? But we're going to castle before any of that happens, because he was going to be pinning the bishop through to the king. So there's a massive attack coming on now, and dark square bishop, white square bishop. Need to get these operating as a team. Let's get this rook here supporting the bishop. Probably looking to get these out into the game. This pawn's blocking off the knight at the minute, so it's probably going to do a whirlwind. In fact, probably this, and then the bishop attacking the pawn this way. So how can I get to their king? Not clear really. I mean, this can move here, but we're probably looking to do the basic doubling up of the rooks if we can on this file. I may need to stop clicking on things now. So the king's moved off of the diagonal for the dark square. Oh no, it's still on the dark square area, but he's looking to trade down the rook for the rook. So if we go here with the bishop, if rook takes, then we've got sights of attacking this pawn with the bishop. I think, yeah. Okay, so they've actually gone for that, so that we're still going to win it anyway, I think, because when we take, then the king's the only one that takes, then the bishop takes. So I think we'll do that, just take the rook, and then we can take the pawn, and we're on this pawn, so this pawn's going to defend. If it doesn't, then this pawn can be taken with the white square bishop. You can also put a check on the king with the rook. I don't want to get the rook to a good place. Let's take the pawn with the bishop here. He's slowly making inroads into getting out and getting his rook out. So it's not set in stone by any means. Yes, we're +3, but got to have a look at the position. We do have a potential for getting the knight off the board. We still have that potential. If we went with a check on his king, then his king's just going to move to the side, so we lose that. So I think we could look to try and reduce down. So the knight can't move now because we have the x-ray through to the king. And always remember, we still have this. So if we take, then the king takes, then we can take this pawn here. So that's giving us more pawns. So I'm going to take, then take. It's a very slow process, but it's bishops of opposite colours, so it could be a draw. It's just that we do have 4 pawns now, so we should be able to do something with this. Could go and attack this pawn here with the bishop. Have to be... Ooh! Do you see what he's got? Yeah, so we move here. Then his bishop comes here, attacking the pawn. I suppose we can just push the pawn up, can't we? Let's just attack the pawn. Because there's nothing there, so we can push the pawn here. Oh, he's doing it as well. Let's push the pawn. He's going crazy with the attacks now. Okay, so we... Is there anything behind it? Because if we went and took the pawn, his bishop takes, our rook then comes here. Line of sight for attacking the king. Is it a good attack though? Because bishop's here, king can't come here because our pawn is there. Is it starting the ball rolling? It's just that this damn bishop can come back here, blocking the king from moving here. And if he gets his rook down there, then that's like going to be a checkmate, isn't it? So that's the thing that they're probably planning on doing. How can we avoid that? Just push the pawn up. I really want to take the pawn though. I don't see why we shouldn't. Let's go with this. If they manage to weave this position in, we need to be mindful, we need to be going across here. So let's go here. I think he's going to go here, but then if he does that, he is actually blocking his rook, isn't he? So his rook can't get down here. Okay, so that was the worst case scenario, I think, for the checkmates. Probably still going there anyway. So do we think we're going to get any of these pawns up at all? So now he's on the attack. Oh, that's a good shot actually. I can't defend my pawn. But I can take his bishop. And then go for his king. Or save the pawn. Shall we save the pawn? Just defend. And then the king has to come and... Yeah, okay, I think we'll do that because then he has to focus on this. We've got 3 pawns that can be pushed up with the support of the king. So this will be like a slow, steady, incremental movement whereby he's probably going to have to exchange his rook. Let's move the king up. See if we can overwork the king. I think if we go in opposite their king, try and stop it from getting into some funky shenanigans. Let's go in here. If we go here, blocks it off. Maybe not that one. Interesting times. Let's push. Try and stop it from coming here. And we can push. And we can push. This rook's going to come and attack us. So I'll just move the king here. At least we've got them adjacent to each other, side by side. So we should be able to give them something to think about. And we've got plenty of time. Oh, you know, I've not even broken the 15-minute mark. That's terrible. So we were going to... I don't think there's any point pushing the king here because he's just going to come there. So I might as well move the king across and then get this other pawn up as well. So let's move the king across. I'm not worried about these pawns at all, unless of course maybe I should be, and they're going to make me pay the price, but We've got equal pawns on this side, so let's push. Now we've got 3 pawns that potentially can give them something to think about. This should work in our favour. The poor rook is babysitting this pawn. Alright, so it's baiting us to go here, but then he just locks down. So we could push this pawn instead. And it doesn't have an in. So a simple push pawn here. Get the king across. Just push the king across. Steady incremental steps. Hopefully, fingers crossed, we're doing it right. Opportunity to attack the rook, but I don't think I'll waste tempo doing that. Although it does make them move back, and we can push this pawn as well. And push onto the king now. Can't go here, so it's going there. Let's keep the triple going, or we could hit the king again, but then it just drops to this square, so we don't want them dropping to this square when we've attacked. So it sounds very basic, but believe me, I have made those kind of mistakes and seen those kind of mistakes many times, and it ends up being a draw when you've got loads of pieces on the board. So we're trying to avoid that draw position, especially when we've got pawn majority like we've got at this moment in time. It can change. We're not being overconfident. We are wanting to do basic chess, hopefully as good as possible. So the rook has moved back, so it does give us a chance to push the pawn onto the king, or to push this pawn up. So checks first, so we'll put a check on the king. So I can see it moving here. Oh, it's not moving there. What we don't want, well, we could allow it to jump down to this square. So if we go here, if he drops, then we've got this pawn jumping up. Let's just work that out, work it out. Attack. Can't take it because this is supporting. He drops. He pushed the pawn. He captures. And push the king up, supporting the pawn. Yeah, that's not going to be too hard, is it, to do? We could just push this pawn up just to make it even more difficult. I think I'm pushing this one and save this one. Could even just push the king up as well. I'm just thinking if we get more up there, it gives them more things to think about. It's probably simpler ways of dealing with this situation. So it's just going for rook moves, so we could just move the king up. I'm really taking my time with this, just nice and steady away. There's no rush. Try and find the ideal moves. That's why playing the longer games, really, well, hopefully in my head in a way, it's improving the way I'm thinking about the game and tackling the basics of chess. Oh, it's gone right back. So there's no elements of stalemate in this game because he does have a rook. So if we push this pawn up now, so basically it's just going to end up suffocating the king. So some way it's probably going to think about locking down and then getting rid of his rook. so that his king gets into some sort of stalemate position. That's the only thing I can think. So we'll push here, and he might even take the pawn with the rook. Oh, stomach's rumbling. I think we've played about 40 minutes here. Well, I said I was maybe an hour or something or the other, but I think we'll finish after this one. It's been quite a session. Oh, it looks like there's a daily game that's just made a move. We'll make a move on that one. But let's focus on this stalemate thing's going to be attempted. Rook's going to take, I think. We take. And the king's bobbling backwards and forwards. But then all we need to do is really just go up with the rook. And then it's checkmate. Because it won't be able to move any squares. So the king has moved actually. Okay, he's not going for the stalemate stuff. Again, not rushing to go here. Because he can just drop down here. Although really, then this pawn can just go shooting up. But I'm really going to keep it simple, and I'm just going to push this pawn. So if he's going backwards and forwards with the king, he's trying to hide in this corner. We can put a check on the king here. His rook takes, pawn takes. And this rook goes ramping home. Yeah. Or even better, I mean, if he goes there and then it goes here, king can come up, readiness to support this pawn. Yeah. Okay, let's hit. If he takes, then that's fine by us because this pawn can go up and get promoted, I believe. Oh, and they've resigned. Excellent. That's not a bad session at all today. Just have a look at this correspondence one, daily. See if there's anything we can do, or do I have to put some thought into it. So they've actually grabbed because we moved our queen, I believe. Yeah, we did. We moved the queen off of the line. So then they've decided to capture, so our knight can take now. Yeah. And that's the end of the session.